Hi, if you're a single woman over 40 and you love God, but you just don't understand why you're single, I hope I have something to share with you that is going to help you today. Hi, I'm Mary, and today I want to share some of the thoughts that were keeping me single and feeling stuck, and finally what brought me peace. Now, let me just first start right off the bat by saying I am still single, but now I have peace and joy in my life. For a very long time, being single was a source of sadness for me because I'm well over 40. I've never been married, I've never been engaged, and I've always wanted to be married and have a family, and not because of like societal pressure or anything like that. I just felt like marriage and family was part of my definition of a fulfilled life. But the older I got and the singleness wasn't changing, I got to the point where I said, I just want to be happy. So I wanted to share with you some of the things today that were keeping me unhappy in my singleness. For a long time, I felt like my singleness was beyond my control. I blamed other people. I blamed God. I blamed luck. And all of that blame just kept me stuck. I thought maybe God was punishing me. Then I thought maybe he was keeping me single for a reason. I thought there was something wrong with me and I just needed to figure out what that was and fix it. I thought maybe I just had bad luck. Today, I understand my story differently. I remember talking with my sister-in-law, and I made a comment about my childhood, and that was why I was still single. And she looked at me and she said, "Do you really think that's why you're still single?" And I said, "Oh, yes, absolutely." But today, when I look back on that, I see that I am 100% responsible for everything that is how it is in my life. Now, of course, we have God's grace and God's blessing, but we participate in our own lives. And for many years, I put the blame off on other people. For example, when I talk about my upbringing or my childhood, but when I realized that when I left my parents' house, and my parents supported me through college, so that amount of time, and then when I realized I had been away from their house, like out of their support, longer than I had been in their support, that's when I realized, wait a minute, who's really responsible here? And it's me. So today, I know that where I am in life is largely due to my beliefs and my behaviors. And there are some things that I do differently now. I wish I had known some of these things when I was younger. I might have had a different outcome, but it's not because I'm a bad person or I did things wrong. I just didn't know. One of the big mistakes that I made in relationships was staying with men who had flat out told me they did not want to get married. And I would stay with them not because I was thinking they would change. I was thinking I could change. So it wasn't ever me thinking, oh, I'll just hang in there and he'll change. It was, I'll hang in there and I'll change. Like maybe it's enough for me to just be in a relationship with him. And basically I was trying to talk myself into settling. But that is not what I wanted. And I wasn't happy. And an unhappy woman is not capable of building a healthy relationship. For so many years, I believed my singleness was out of my control. But when I realized that I am in control of what is happening in my life, then I was able to start making some changes in my behavior. Now, look, I'm not talking about things that happen in our life that we truly have no control over. Things happen and, there are accidents, there are tragedies. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the beliefs and the behaviors that I engaged in for years that were not serving me. That's what I'm speaking about. I cannot control if somebody hits my car in the parking lot, but I can control how I react to that. One of the big issues that kept me single was that I was not honest about what I wanted. And I was therefore entering every relationship dishonestly. And I was afraid to say what I wanted because, of course, you don't want to seem needy, you don't want to seem clingy. And so I wouldn't be honest about, one, what I was looking for in a man, and two, what type of relationship I wanted, and three, I would not be honest about boundaries and my expectations. When you don't set boundaries with people and they engage in unacceptable behavior, but you don't say anything because you don't want to be difficult, the behavior continues because they don't know it's a problem. And many times I didn't want to be difficult, I didn't want to be mean, I didn't want to be demanding, so I would not set boundaries. And that kept me in mediocre relationships that I sometimes felt were better than nothing. But the truth is they weren't, because I was chronically unhappy and disappointed. The second thing that kept me single was just believing that there was something wrong with me. For a long time, I didn't know if it was I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough, I don't look like the cute girl next door. And I thought maybe there was just something inside my brain or my personality that was wrong with me. I remember talking to my dad one time and I said, I just think there's something wrong with me and I don't know what it is. But I'm in therapy and I'm really hoping that my therapist can help me. And in fact, I had sat down with my therapist on day one and said, there's something wrong with me. I can't seem to find a relationship or stay in one, and I need you to figure out what's wrong with me and fix it, because I don't want to be single forever. And when you believe that there is just something wrong with you, that is going to severely limit you. And I've heard many women say this. I've heard them say it like, my picker is broke, or, I just don't know how to find a good guy, or I always manifest, these guys who aren't that great. And I always say, like, the problem isn't that you keep manifesting these guys. The problem is you keep giving them your phone number. So when you think there's something wrong with you and you're always in fix-it mode, first of all, what that communicates to other people is that there's something wrong with you, but also that you're just frantically trying to, up your bar or something. So I was an overachiever and I was always trying to be the best at everything to prove I was good enough. And the problem was that came across as masculine and go-getter and try to control everything and everybody. And it wasn't so much that I was trying to control other people. I just wanted to control myself so I could be good enough. But that's not how it comes across. Also, I didn't know how to be vulnerable. And without realizing it, I built up these emotional walls and I really couldn't connect with people. Now, let me say something about vulnerability, because for a long time, I did not understand what that word meant. I thought being vulnerable meant you just spill all the bad stuff about yourself. You just tell all your bad secrets and you just reveal all of your issues and problems. That is not vulnerability. That is oversharing. Vulnerability is being honest about how you feel. That was a problem for me. Number one, I couldn't identify what I was feeling for many years. And number two, I couldn't talk about it because I was so afraid of being judged or other people seeing that really there was something wrong with me. And so I just kept everything bottled up, and I would tell everyone I was fine. But again, there we go, dishonest in relationships once again. Another problem that I had was that I just had a very deep rooted belief that I would never be happy alone. I remember walking my dog one day in my neighborhood and just saying to the Lord, I just don't think I can ever be happy if I stay single. And I really just thought, okay, I'll just kind of do my best. I may not have the life I want, but, I'll do what I can. And that is a really sad way to live. First of all, Jesus did not die on the cross for us to trudge around until he brings us home to glory. I mean, who would want to be a Christian if that's what they have to look forward to? And one of the great things about God is he will just let you sit in that miry pit as long as you want to. For me, it was many years. And then I finally said, you know what? I'm just so tired of being miserable. I just want to be happy. And actually, if I'm really honest, I didn't think I could be happy if I was single. I just said, if I could just be content, like if I could just be not miserable, that would be great. And so I was unhappy. I was anxious. I was afraid of being alone. I was frustrated. I just didn't understand why it seemed like everyone else around me could find a relationship and get married and make things work, and I couldn't. And people pick up on that. We sometimes think men aren't very emotionally intelligent, but they are. They pick up on your unhappiness. So here I was, I'm dishonest, I'm overachieving, I'm frantically trying to make myself good enough, and I'm frustrated and I'm sad. Hello, that's nobody's dream girl. So what changed for me? I think one of the biggest things that changed for me that helped me come to a place of peace was taking full responsibility for my singleness and not blaming my parents and not blaming the kids in high school and not blaming the guys that I dated and not blaming God, that I had made unproductive decisions and I had been in a place that is not where you need to be to have a relationship. And when I took 100% responsibility for where I am in my life, it actually was very freeing, because up until then, I felt like a victim. Like, well, it's not my fault I'm single. Like the whole universe and God and everyone has just conspired, and poor me, I'm just single. And when you feel that way, you can't do anything to change it. So when I started taking responsibility for my singleness, yes, it was sad to look back on some of my experiences and think, I wish I had done that differently. But it was very freeing because I wasn't so angry. I wasn't angry at other people. I wasn't angry at God. Honestly, I wasn't even angry at myself, because I looked back with compassion on myself and said, you know what? This poor, broken, frantic, discouraged woman. And when I took responsibility and I forgave myself, that is when things really started to change for me. And I would encourage you to just take a look at that and see how you may have participated in where you are today. If you need to get help, get help. For me, I had to look at the thoughts that I had about myself and also my behavior, and realized that, first of all, I need to be honest about what I want and how I feel. Now, today, I am able to do that with everyone in my life. And I think I'm a healthier person today. Now, I'd love to tell you that my Boaz came along and I'm not single anymore. That hasn't happened. But what's different is me, okay? Like, I always thought that well, I'll be happier and I'll be different when my soulmate shows up. But what actually happened was I'm happier and I'm at peace. And even though he hasn't shown up yet, I'm in a good space, not because I'm single, but while I'm single. And listen, if you're struggling with loneliness, I get it. Loneliness can be really tough. And I put a free teaching below this video that you can get. It's completely free. It's about overcoming loneliness. And I want to just encourage you that you're not alone. If you feel like something is wrong with you or you don't understand why you're single, listen, it's godly to want a relationship. I don't know that we're all going to get what we want. We're in a broken, sinful world. I don't know if we're all going to get our Boaz. But what I do know is that we can have a flourishing, fruitful, prosperous life full of love and peace and joy. God has promised us that. And so for me, that's what a wonderful life is all about. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.